Hi guys, Hunter here. So, you want to buy an FX Impact Mark II, where's the harm in that? Well, I don't want to buy a new one because they're like £1,700. So you think, I'll tell you what I'll do, I'll go second hand. I'll buy one for £1,000 off Gun Trader. Be no problems. Think again, because this little bugger, I paid £1,000 for this. So, first and foremost, I didn't pick it up myself because I was ill 2 weekends ago. So I was ill all the weekend and I couldn't get to Durham. So I had a friend who knows his guns. He carries an FAC licence, but he's more accustomed to rimfire, centre fires. He has got air rifles too, but these are new to him also. So he went and picked the gun up for me. I sent him the money. I couldn't get there. Bit risky when you don't go yourself, but I've never owned an FX before. And I've kind of always wanted one. I wanted a bigger shot count as well and something really light for shooting with. So he gets there, I tell him, check it all over for me, make sure it's firing properly, and then give us a ring, tell him what you think. So he does that, rings me up. He says he's shot it in the back garden, but he didn't have much of a distance to shoot at. So basically the guy who was selling this, apparently used to do pest control. He'd lost his driving licence through an heart attack, and so therefore he couldn't drive anymore, and he was selling off some of his guns. So a friend rung me up. He said it's shooting pretty much pellet on pellet, but at short distance. What do you want me to do? So as you do, the guy's there, you know, your friend's there. He's gone out of his way to do room for me as well. So I said, yeah, purchase it, bring it back. So I said to him, he had it for a couple of days before I managed to get my hands on it. So I said, can you tell me what the regulator's sat at? And he said it's currently sat at 70 bar. So after quite a bit of digging and stuff like that, I found out that most people who own these at sub 12 are usually set around about 50 bar. Here's where you've got to be careful. So basically I got the gun back and I put a target up in the back garden. And it was at 70 bar, and then I didn't chronograph it immediately, and I started shooting it, and I noticed a regulator came all the way down to 50 bar. So I found that a bit weird, so I thought I'd better get the chronograph out, put the chronograph on it, and I'd left it a couple of hours by this point, and when I'd gone back to it, it was back up to 70 bar. So started taking shots, and the chronograph was reading like 400 feet per second at like 8 foot-pounds. I thought, that can't be right. 8 foot-pounds and 400 feet per second. So I kept firing, and as time went on, it eventually did go up, and then it was like 600 feet per second, 700 feet per second, 800 feet per second, and it was over the limit. It was only just, but it was going around about 12.2 foot-pounds over the limit. And I noticed a reg had gone back down to 50. So I thought, why is that going from 70 to 50? So again, I did some more research. And it turns out that it had reg creep on it. But it wasn't just creeping 4 or 5 pounds overnight. It was creeping 20 pounds within 2 hours. So at this point, I'm like, shit, I've just spent £1,000 on, sorry for the language, I've just spent £1,000 on a FX Impact Mark II. It's going to be very difficult to get my money back because it's just done through Gun Trader. I've got not paid cash. And I don't really know anything about servicing these. Sorry, just 1 second. Of course you can, son, yeah. Sorry about that, guys, if your son asking for 2 biscuits. So, yeah. So I don't know anything about maintaining FXs. I'm quite handy and quite technical. But after doing quite a bit of research and reading about reg creep and stuff like that, I figured I'll get myself a new regulator and try that. That cost me £80 on top of the £1,000 I paid. So I got the FX AM2 regulator with a brass piston and the new body rig, and I got that from Bagnall is it Bagnall and Kirkwood? I'm not sure, but Bagnall and something or other, and it's a sub 12 specific regulator. And believe me, if you haven't done these before, there's loads of videos out there, and I went to the shop and I'm going to ask them to install it for me. And so when I went to the gun shop, they basically said that the FX is probably the most messed about gun in the world, messed with gun in the world, and that he probably wouldn't touch it he weren't interested. So then I kind of felt like, right, I've nobody else local, I've got no help, what do I do? So I bought the regulator and I watched a ton of videos time and time again, which is why YouTube helps, because you do get some good videos. And I changed the regulator and it was fiddly. I was really papping it, to be honest. I was really worried I was going to mess up this FX, scratch inside of the body down here. So the regulator's in there around the back of the trigger, and you've got to get all the O-ring. The last O-ring is an absolute nightmare. Getting the reg out in itself's pretty easy, but the last O-ring, it's right at the bottom of some threads, and you've got to like kind of dig into it, and you're worried you're going to scratch all that internal like chamber bit, and if you do that, then and you get leaks, then I don't know what that means after that. Maybe a new central part of this gun. But I managed it, and I put the new reg in and tuned it to 55. I think I've got it now, 50 to 55 bar. Thankfully, and I mean thankfully, there is no creep on this gun anymore. It stays at 55 pounds no matter how many times I shoot it. If I leave it overnight, it's now, I've fixed the regulator. There's no leaks on the front bottle, thank God. When you fill it with up to 250 bar, absolutely no leaks whatsoever. It's a compact, apparently. It was advertised as a compact in 177. Now, just going back to what the shop owner said, they are the most messed with gun, or certainly this one was. You can tell that nearly every nut and bolt has been turned or taken out and put back in, and again you start worrying, is it going to shoot straight? I fixed the regulator, I filled it up, there's no leaks, the reg's where it should be, filled to 250 bar, and then you probably won't see it on here, but inside there you can see all the paint's come off the barrel, just that silvery bit in the middle there. So you know straight away that this guy has had the barrel in and out. It could be a million times or just a handful of times, but it's definitely been in and out of there quite a bit. And the fact that it was shooting over just over sub 12 worried me immediately, because I was like, right, I've got to get that down. So he turned the hammer spring up. I'm not going to mention names, obviously, but he turned the hammer spring up, and it was above the legal limit, so which is why I'm glad that I'd bought the sub 12 specific regulator to put in this, so we can't start messing around and getting it wrong. Anyway, I suppose the warning is really is if you're going to buy a second-hand rifle, especially an FX, if you go buy one, you could quite easily, like the guy probably did, is just take that, get that, and then if it's got regulator creep, you could do that a few times and then get it down to where it should be, which is what I believe the guy who sold me this did. And when my friend got there, it was sitting at 50 pounds, 55 foot-pounds, but over 2 hours, it would creep to 70 in no time. And then your first 10 shots would be way underneath the mark. The FPS would be really down. The foot-pounds would be like 6, 7. Now, you can't go out on an hunting trip and do 10 practice shots or carry out pest control and do 10 practice shots, especially with it creeping that fast within 2 hours up to 70 bar, because you're going to scare everything off doing it, and it's just not practical to be hitting stuff at 6 foot-pounds, especially at distance, or you're just going to fluff your shot, miss your shot. So I got the reg in, filled it up, no leaks, got JSB exact, put my Arkansas on here. I don't have a bipod for it yet, but I've got a bottle bipod attachment coming. So I finally got it out today and chronographed it, and I'm pleased to say I think I've had a very, very, very lucky escape. I'll put the shots in the video, it's just a target shot, and I've got the FX Pocket Chrono version 2, which I love. It's brilliant. Yeah, and it just reads it out to you, so I'll show you what we've got there. 35 yards is what we're out at on the target. I've shot a couple of crows today with it also on a pest control, and I can honestly say it's a massive sigh of relief, because doing the regulator I was bricking it, and I was thinking, what if I scratch inside of the chamber and then it's leaks for good, and does that mean a new gun and a new central part? And when I got it all together and I've took it out, it's shooting pretty much pellet on pellet at 35 yards. Bearing in mind, I'm just shooting off of a coat, basically, because I've no bipod for it yet. And the foot-pounds is pretty good. I'm not an expert in like shot strings and stuff like string shots and stuff like that, so I'll put it up. I'll put a picture up now so you can see what it's shooting at, and basically that'll go on. You can please give me some feedback. Tell me what you think of the FPS, of the foot-pounds, of the spread, because like I say, this FX airgun's new to me. But I believe I've got it shooting exactly where I want it to be, and now I can't wait to get out and shoot it properly. But guys, please be aware, if you're buying an FX second hand and you don't have any mechanical skills, I'm not saying don't have a go, but it's a bloody expensive mistake if you get this wrong. If you can't put a regulator in there and nobody else wants to touch it, like your local shop, or you do attempt it and you scratch the inside and you got forever loads of leaks everywhere because you've messed up the chamber where the regulator goes, that's going to be a very costly mistake, basically. But I wanted to share this video with you because if you are thinking of going out and buying an Impact, I'd definitely say try and spend an hour on the visit. If you're buying it secondhand and you're picking up, it may be fit down at 50-55 bar when you're there, but what you need to do is take your shots, stick a chrono on it, make sure it's not creeping above the above 12 foot-pounds, because you can get in a lot of trouble, as we all know. And then you want to wait, really, if you can, an hour and see if that regulator creeps back up, because the guy said the gun was perfect and it clearly wasn't. The hammer spring had been turned up, the regulator was not working. It may have just been the O-rings. I just changed out the regulator in its entirety just to make sure, because I wanted to get shooting with it. Then I've had to go buy a chronograph, so they're 150 quid, 80 quid for the regulator. Yeah, I mean, that's like 1,150, so like nearly £1,250 for a second-hand 177 FX. But I believe I may have escaped an expensive mistake there. So far, so good. I wanted to share this video with you just in case you're thinking of buying one. But like I said, I'll put the chart up and I'll put the shots in the end, and please let me know what you think. Oh, and by the way, it's my birthday tomorrow, which is New Year's Day. So hopefully I can get this video out for you tomorrow. And if not, or either way, if I get it out, great. Have a great New Year, and I hope you've all had a lovely Christmas. Take care.